Okay, good. I was going to say good evening.
I was going to say good
It's
morning.
good morning.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was right. Yeah.
good morning at this point. I just want to say a massive apology for how late we are starting this stream. We timed this absolutely horrifically. They didn't actually post the times of the concert until we got there. We were in the throes of the concert, and then we didn't get out until what time was it? Was it like after 11 or something? We got out.
I don't know. I'm on New York time, so I'm early.
And then it was about an hour drive back, and then the road was delayed. They were doing road work, so it added 10 minutes onto our journey. So yeah, I appreciate that we're over like an hour, almost an hour and a half late to our stream. So yeah, apologies for that. As you can tell from the video, we're going to be talking about Ozzy. I mean, it's just a huge shock and everything like that. But we're going to save that discussion to the end because we want to finish our video on that. But we did want to do a live stream talking about the gig that we went to today, which is actually tied in quite nicely with Ozzy. Actually, so this gig was called the Girls' Night Out Tour or gig or whatever. I think that's the name of it. We went to KK Steel
Can
Mill.
you constitute a tour with 2 dates?
Yeah, I wondered that. It is literally just. Yeah, well, I know Lita Ford's playing.
So like if a cat has 2 kittens, it's not a litter, is it? It's kind of
it's just 2 of them.
duo.
Yeah. So I know they're doing. So we got the Wolverhampton show. We were at KK Steel Mill, and then they're playing in London tomorrow night, I believe. And then I know that Lita Ford's playing on
Which we're going to go to
Saturday. I think she's playing in Wales at this big festival.
We're going to go to London one tomorrow.
I wish. So who was on the bill for tonight then? So we had support. I can't talk. It's been a long day. Support from Chez Kane, who I've heard a bunch of their songs.
Never
before.
listened to them until today.
You hadn't heard any of their songs?
No.
What did you think then? Because you were going.
I liked them. I did. But that's. Do you know what? It's really weird to say that. That's kind of all I can say about them because it is just I did like them. I didn't. There's no like when the great thing about gigs for me, I always even if the band's really really big. First time I see a band, usually 9 times out of 10, I'll go, and I won't know every single one of their songs they do. Like for instance, Motley Crue, one of my favorite bands. Now I know pretty much every song they've done. First time I saw them though, there was a good 20% of their set list I probably wasn't familiar. I'd heard the songs in part, but I'd not really, and there was probably 1 or 2 songs I was probably like, not really heard this one before. And it comes to light in my head through that. And I like discovering bands through that, even if it's a band I really like and a band that like Motley Crue, I would pay 50 quid to see them the first time, and Def Leppard and Steel Panther. But I knew there was a couple of songs I was still discovering, which I think is a really, really cool way. But this, and a lot of them I go away thinking, I remember that song, listen to that. They're not a band where I go away thinking, what was this song? They're a band that I go away and listen to and get familiar because I like them. But I don't think there's a song that really stands out amongst them, if that makes sense.
That could be. Well, I mean, you're discovering from the first time tonight. So the song that I heard first by Chez Kane was a song called "Too Late for Love." You can find all these on YouTube, by the way. I think she actually started her career by just singing like vocal covers on YouTube. I think she did one of "Dreams" by Van Halen. That's a really good
her.
one.
You showed me. Yeah, there you go. I know.
So yeah, check out a YouTube channel. That stuff's great. I actually think this bill for us. So Chez Kane.
I wish I'd remembered that. I wish I knew that because then I would have asked her when she was at the merch table, be like, "Huge fan Van Halen, Dave or Sammy. Let's have a Van Halen discussion. I'll still be there."
You didn't know? I thought you knew it was.
I forgot that was right. Okay, cool.
But the bill was perfect because you had Chez Kane, Vixen, and Lita Ford, and I think all 3 fit perfectly together because Chez Kane, very much an up and comer, got a couple of albums out, I think, at the moment. But her sound, her vocal style is so akin to something like Vixen or Lita Ford, or those bands that she clearly was inspired by. And the sound as well, it's very retro 80s sound. It's very uplifting, fun, energetic, party atmosphere kind of thing. Which I love. So it's great to see new bands adopting that old style but making it their own. So I thought it was a great support. She did about a half-hour set. She's always very conversational as well. As you mentioned, she sticks around after the gigs and talks to a lot of people. And then really the big draw for me, of course, it was Lita Ford and Vixen, but for me it was Vixen. That was a band I absolutely adore Vixen, and I never thought I would get to see them ever in my lifetime. I think the last time that they played the UK, they probably played other dates, but the one that I know that they played was, I think it was Rockingham, and that was probably around like 2014, 2015, maybe. It was a long time ago now. And I never went to see them. And everything went quiet on the Western Front. They've done loads of stuff in the US, but I haven't seen them in the UK. So when I saw that they were playing Wolverhampton, which is relatively close by, I jumped at the chance. I was like, I don't care who else is on the bill. And then when they said Lita Ford's on the bill, I thought, excellent, perfect, get to cross Lita Ford off as well. So I think for me, the big thing tonight was just finally getting to see those bands. I know you were arguing that can we even call it Vixen anymore? There's one original member in Vixen left, and that's the drummer, who was always my favorite member.
Like when I saw Slade, is it really Slade? It's just Dave Hill. That's what it is.
So when I went to see Quiet Riot, I think I don't even think the person in the band's actually one of the original members.
It's even Crash Diet now. Like, are they Crash Diet? When we saw them, I mean, I saw them a few years, like many years ago, and it was more original members. But still, is it really them? And there's even an argument with Crash Diet on how their first album. So Peter London is on the first album. He's like, so that they still have members in it, even though Peter London wasn't playing with them when we saw the Blast. So it's a bit. But anyway, but like Peter London, I think they're guitarists as well. I think Martin Sweet. I can't remember which ones, but I think a lot of them were on the first album. But all the songs written on the first album were written by Dave Leppard, who is no longer in the band. So no member of that band now are playing songs. You know, so when they play anything from that first album, they didn't write any of them. So realistically, when they're playing the first album, it's kind of like a cover band. It's quite funny to think about. But yes, Van Halen are the only band that can get peace in the Middle East at the moment. It's very, very true. Someone needs to like projectile. That's a weird phrase. But they need to like put on a projector in the Middle East and just be like, guys, calm the fuck down. And it's like, yeah, and just see Van Halen. And then this is why there's a war, because Eddie Van Halen's dead.
Speaking of Van Halen, Derpy Entertainment says, "Is that a Van Halen T-shirt? Only they can." Oh, sorry,
But what I was saying is,
yeah,
that's why there's a war in the Middle East, because Eddie Van Halen's dead. But I'm just saying that's why.
And JN says, "No Noddy, no Dave Lee, no Don Powell equals no Slade."
Well, I don't know if you mean Jim Lee. I was going to say, I was going to say, yeah, exactly, because you've got no Noddy Holder, no Jim Lee, no Don Powell. It's just Dave Hill. But I am fully aware of that. I haven't seen Slade. I've just seen Dave Hill. Like, I'm fully aware of that, and I'm happy with that. But also, he's the guitarist, so it's my favorite part. But first time I saw them, it was Don Powell as well. So it's technically 50%. So it was 50% of them, and like you could argue is that, but I'd still say no, it's not Slade. It's just Dave Hill and friends. But anyway.
Before we talk about Vixen and Lita properly, and of course, getting on to talk about Ozzy, I want to talk about the whole security system.
They touched me
at KK Steel.
They touched me inappropriately.
They snapped on the rubber gloves, didn't they? No, okay. So it was a female security guard, and I got up and I put my arms out, ready to, be frisked. And she mumbled something, and I had my earplugs in at the time, so I didn't really hear what she said. She said, like, "Are you all right with me touching you?" I was like, "Sorry, say it again." She says, "Are you all right with me searching you?" I was like, "That's your job here, isn't it? Like, that's what you're meant to do." But she asked it of me as a direct question. She says, "Are you all right with me searching you?" So what if I said no? Would she just let me in?
I literally said that to her. She went, "You're all right with me searching you?" I'm like, "Well, can I say no then?" And she was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Well, the guy searches you if you say no to me." And I was like, "But it's your job. Why would I say no?"
Is this like a 2025 thing now? Like, do I have your consent to search you?
So weird.
Before you go into an event.
Shouldn't it just be like, no, well, fuck off then. Like, you need to search if you got a knife. And if someone says, "I want the guy to search me," I'll be like, "Well, the guy's not free, so either I search you or you fuck off." Like, it's your job. I don't understand. It's absolutely fucking stupid. Absolutely fucking dense.
Zachary, I'm not ignoring your comment, by the way. I will bring up everyone's comment by the end of this. I'll cycle back to that. Don't worry. So Vixen was a huge mark for me for this concert, because I never thought I'd get to see them, and I was not disappointed at all. The new singer, because they did get another new singer, which was I think she was the singer of Femme Fatale. Her name escapes me now, but since then they've had another new singer, and she was incredible. Absolute powerhouse vocal all the way through. I think she did justice to all of Vixen's previous songs. with her own style to it, her own flair. It was a great set list. I wish they'd have gone on longer. There was loads more Vixen songs I wish they could have done, but they hit all the main ones. I think maybe there was a couple that they left off that I would have liked to have seen them do. But just belting it out, getting to hear all those songs. I had a similar thing when we went to HRH Sleaze a couple of years ago, and Ted Poley from Danger Danger was there. And it was that surreal moment where you've heard these songs for most of your life, for all of your life, never thinking you'd get to see them on stage. And it's happening in front of you, and it's just that was great for me. So I had a great time at Vixen. It is. I mean, it is Vixen.
I would disagree. Because I'm Janet Gardner. That would have been great.
I know.
But the bassist was so good to look at. I was very happy chilling in the crowd, just watching the bassist. That passed the time for me. That was a good moment.
Yeah.
That was no, they were really good though, really fun. I would say they were the better of the two, to be fair. But Lita Ford for me was the highlight. The reason I was there, it wasn't Vixen, because if it was just Vixen, I wouldn't have been there, because to me, I'd say it's not Vixen, even though they were the better of the two, and not just because they partially covered a Van Halen song, partially, but that's not the reason. They were just really, really good energy, not just because the bassist was amazing to look at.
Oh my God, I know.
But they were energy, great, everything. Not Lita Ford wasn't, but I do think they did top it.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, well, let's talk about Lita Ford then for a bit. Again, it was that moment where she walks out, and you're so used to watching her music videos from the 80s or the early to mid 90s or whatever, and then she's there on stage, and she's more mature now. I think that's fair to say. I'd still give her a go, but it really just is that sobering fact of that time comes for us all, and it was just that moment of, I'm glad I am getting to see Lita Ford now, another one I can cross off the list of, some of my favorite bands and artists from the 80s or whenever it was, 70s, 80s, because we're not going to get this chance forever. Who knows when I'd probably get the chance to see Lita Ford again whenever she came back to the UK, because I think it's been a while since she's been to the UK. So yeah, that was the big thing for me, seeing her. And of course,
it was, to be fair, it was quite cool that she got the other chicks to come on and do Cherry Bomb. I thought that was cool that they came on and did that with her. That was a nice touch. She got Chez Kane to come on as well, who I did think, in all fairness, when they came on stage, it was quite funny. And I know why, because obviously the chicks from Vixen are all in the same band and all that. But it did feel like when they were jumping around on stage, like together, that Chez Kane was kind of just there on her own. Like,
yes.
I was looking at that. I was just like, she's kind of over there on her own. Like, she felt like she wasn't part of it. But I get why, because obviously they just had that natural chemistry of being in a band. But I did like that touch of when they played Cherry On. That was a really, really good point.
I got the impression that Chez Kane felt a little bit self-conscious, maybe. She felt a little bit nervous, probably because she's looked up to these two bands as icons at the beginning of her career. And now she's getting, because she mentioned that multiple times, that I can't believe I'm here. It's an absolute honor to share the stage with them. So maybe it was nerves coming out of it that way. We've got Bath Time, who says, "Big up, lads, broke a record tonight for punctuality." Yeah, I know. Apologies for that.
That's why I got sacked from my last job.
And
it's not. I'm just
enjoy the stream. Far too late for me, but hope you had fun. Personally, I think we made a massive mistake during COVID by not airdropping Ozzy into China to sort them bats out.
I said this, that I think, what was it? Anyone that had tickets to that last show, to make it fair, because obviously I think he did. It was supposed to be 2 dates in. So the last tour he was meant to do, which got cancelled, I think there was 2 dates in Birmingham, the last 2 shows. But, and I'm not just saying this because we had tickets to that last exact show. I think it would have been nice if anyone that had tickets to that last exact show should have just been given like a week's early access or a day's early access, just because it gives you guys, like us guys at Everything, a chance. Obviously, we got refunded, and I know it's not going to be 80 quid. This, because this was obviously the amount of bands up there.
Inflation,
it was a stadium, and it was a stadium as well. Like, I get that. I'm not asking for it to be the same as well, but I just think even if it was just a day's early access, just to prove that you were going to that gig, that gives you at least that day's chance above the rest to make sure that you can secure a ticket if you can afford it. Because it was a very surreal moment of being there, and like when the fireworks went off, just being like, so this is what we got in the end. Just like, I'm really glad we actually, like, I managed to be here. So that would have been quite cool. And if we at least got like a day's early access or something.
Yeah, that's just
but we still went, so I don't really care.
And there were a lot of great highlights from Lita Ford. Of course, Kiss Me Deadly, the song that she closed out her show on. You mentioned Cherry Bomb. Shot at Poison, Playing with Fire are some of my favourite ones of hers, so it was great to hear those. She did Back to the Cave, which I like, but my God, I feel like this outstayed its welcome a little bit. And I don't mind when bands do this. You know, she says, I want to hear from this side of the crowd. Hooray! And then she goes over to the right. And then this side, it's like a competition almost. And then she says, right, I want the drum. I want to tone the drums right down now. Give me like a really basic beat. And then let me hear something from the bassist. And let me hear something from the guitar. I'm not joking. This felt like it went on for about 25 minutes, this one song.
Yeah, as much as it did go on, I think that moment was one of the a standout moment band-wise that I've ever seen from a band, because you get a lot of bands, obviously. I mean, the bigger the band, the more choreographed everything is, the more it's all, you know, and I'm not talking about like recordings or anything like that, but I'm still talking about choreographed and proper. Like, there's a difference between practicing something until you get it right and practicing something until you just never make a mistake. And I think the bigger the band, the more chance that you more there is just never mistakes. There's more sort of everything is tuned to a certain, you know, everything is, you know, with the sound check, it's so like this needs to be done. That's why you have bands set up, then they're off, and then coming on to the next band, there's still another 20 minutes they need to change over, because bands are very specific about this needs to sound this and stuff. And I get that, but this was a really, really standout moment of how it was like, now make it a bit like do this, and it was like, it just sounded like you were kind of there at an amateur gig in a way, where it was like, oh, let's try this, and it sounded very raw, which I thought was really good.
Yeah. And of course, this takes us on to the main thing we're going to talk about tonight. We knew it was coming, and well, Lita Ford's duet with Ozzy, Close My Eyes Forever, we knew that was going to be on the bill.
I still half expected to wheel him out and be like, guess what? Like, big publicity, so that would have been so cool.
Of course.
Imagine what that gig would be worth.
Yeah, Jesus. So a couple of days ago, well, let's wind the clocks back a bit when we first heard the news, because I mean we were at the Back to the Beginning gig, and JN says here, you guys are extremely lucky you witnessed history with Back to the Beginning. I agree. 2 weeks later, two and a bit weeks later, I think, obviously we got the news that Ozzy passed. Where were you when you got the news? Do you remember?
I was eating dinner. I was eating. What was I? I was eating ribs as well. My hands were messy, and then I got a message from you saying, "I was like, how what?" My hands had barbecue on them. But it was really weird because you said it, but it didn't hit anywhere. I was. Do you know what? This is weird as well. It's a coincidence, but it's a weird coincidence because Dio obviously sang for Black Sabbath, and when I found out about Dio, I found out for some weird reason, and we've said this before, but I genuinely think I have a problem. So like I'm not the hugest Dio fan ever, but I was just having a moment where I was listening to Dio and I was like, oh, it's really cool. I was going through Dio stuff. Then I decided to Google him and I found out he died. And I was like, wow. Wait, what? It was that same day. It was so weird. I was like, of all the days, like I've just chose to listen to Dio. But I found it online somewhere, but it hadn't hit anywhere else. And I told my mate, and he was like, "What?" And he couldn't find it anywhere. So it was the exact same situation, but you told me. I couldn't find it anywhere. I was like, "What?" And I was really confused. And then give it a minute, everywhere, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Oh shit!" But it was really, really weird because it was one of those things where it was quite sad. I mean, obviously, the saddest thing to me will always be Eddie Van Halen. That was the one thing that was. And you know, nothing's ever gonna be that big to me, but it was sad, but also it was weird. It was so like, do you know, as much as we obviously knew, he, you know, what was happening, it was very sort of like, it felt like didn't really feel like that was going to happen, kind of like, oh, I actually thought he would last like forever kind of thing. It was really, really weird. It was also kind of like when my nan died, because like when my nan, this is really, really weird, but when my nan died, so she was ill and I was going to see her and stuff. And then just one day I was going down to see her. And then I get a call on the way there. For some reason, someone decided to tell me on the way and not wait till I got there, but like, she's died, by the way. It was really weird. It was like, okay. And it was just like a sudden thing. And it was a very similar kind of like, oh, didn't actually expect it to happen now. Like it was that kind of thing. So that's what I mean. Like it was like my nan. Do you know what I mean? But it was like it felt kind of like a sudden, like, oh, I didn't actually expect that to happen now. It felt very very soon, because it was what, less, no, it was 2 weeks. It was two weeks.
Just over 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was very soon after it. He pretty much got that to the T.
I did see this on Facebook, actually, on the drive home from tonight's gig, and I don't know if this is true. So Lemmy's final gig, the time between Lemmy's final show and the day that he died was 17 days, and apparently Ozzy Osbourne's was exactly the same from the final gig to the day that he passed. JN says, were you guys genuinely shocked?
I wasn't, in the sense of, like, obviously we all knew everything, but it just felt weird, because I was like, genuinely thought this guy would last forever, kind of thing. It was a weird moment, and I thought this a few years ago. I was like, when Ozzy dies, it's going to be weird, because it generally feels like he ain't going to let go of life. Like, he's going to be there for a long time. And it was like that. It was like, oh, okay. And it felt really like maybe he's not immortal, which obviously we all know, but it just was very, very strange, because he's one of the people that you think he's just gonna, like Keith Richards, he's gonna be there for a long time.
Yeah,
it was a weird one.
Zachary says first Robin Williams, then Lemmy, then David Bowie, and now Ozzy. Yeah, we were a bit morbid on the drive there, weren't we? We're thinking about what other big names, like, the caliber.
Because the thing is, Ozzy Osbourne's someone that, even if you don't know his music or anything, everyone just knows the name. It's like a very, very big thing to happen. I think the big ones like Elton John would be huge. Everyone would just be sort of like, Paul McCartney, Keith Richards. They're like the big ones. I mean, there's probably a couple of others, but I'm thinking of people that just everyone knows, regardless what kind of music you're into or whatever. It was a bit weird though with Lita Ford, because she played the song and that was great, but she didn't really say much. She just kind of like, yep, this is for Ozzy, and that was it. And I was like, oh, okay.
Well, let's talk about that. So obviously the day of the gig.
This is just. I just want to say the thing about Ringo, right? And I would agree, but his name doesn't have as much staying power as Paul McCartney. It just, not because it's the name Ringo, I don't think, but I don't know. And that might be part of it, but you'd think that kind of name people would remember it. But he doesn't have, I'm just thinking names where every single person, I think Ringo would be a person like Rob Halford. I think they're people where there's a few people out there probably like, who's that? Oh, from the Beatles. Oh, really? Shit. Or from Judas Priest, and people kind of know the name, I think. But these, I'm on about names where instantly people are like, oh, fuck, that was that guy, wasn't it? And then, do you know what I mean? And
yeah.
There are people out there that don't know who Paul McCartney is. Do you know that? Remember when, what was it, Kanye West did a song with, was it Kanye West? I don't know. Someone did a song with him, and there were people genuinely like, oh, this Paul McCartney dude's wicked. Didn't have a clue who it was. God, it was mad. So,
because so my mum shouted up to me. She was like,
that's going to hurt, Noddy. Hold on, I'm going to cry.
My mum shouted up to me. She was like, Ozzy's died. I was like, what? And I was like, quickly Googled, and I always go onto Wikipedia for some reason. I don't know why. And it hadn't been updated on there yet. Usually you have like the date of birth and the date of their death. And it wasn't on there, but it did say Ozzy was a singer and whatever. I was like, okay. So I Googled a little bit more, and then of course started to see the news, went onto Facebook. And I will say for however many days straight, it's been like 2 days now, whatever. My Facebook's just been flooded, with tributes from, celebrities and everything, and other singers, popping up on my feed, and of course everyone on my Facebook feed and whatnot.
It's really weird though, because we've said this many times. I Googled Dio, he died. With Ozzy, I was chatting to my dad about him the day before, and then that day, it was that morning, I just went, oh, I've got that Ozzy book in the loft that I never finished. I'm going to pull it out. I pulled it out, and then he died. I went, I need to stop doing this.
Now, you mentioned, I guess this is where we differ on this. You mentioned that you were sort of hit with this very surreal moment because you thought Ozzy was immortal and that he was always going to live forever. And I guess in a weird way he will, because, through his music and whatnot. But I sort of had an opposite effect. Now, the news did hit me, and I did initially feel very sad at reading it. But then, in a strange way, I had this sense of acceptance. Like, he went out how he wanted to.
He did it in the best
he
possible
lived
way.
He kept himself going. He did that final gig which he really wanted to. It was almost, it sounds a little bit morbid, but it was almost like he was attending his own funeral. He wanted that last goodbye to his fans, which he did
it in the best way, didn't he?
The following week he did Birmingham Comic-Con, so he got to meet more of his fans there. And then of course the following week the poor sod died. So I think
the perfect way would have been if Comic-Con didn't happen. It just was that. Then he died like even if it was a week later. But the thing is, because the last thing was, I mean, obviously it was great for the people that met him. I just think it was nice that he went out on that high. He didn't, because you get a lot of people. I mean, Motley Crue, one of the big ones, fucking pissed me off with this. But it's because they made a big song and dance about it. But the whole, like, we want to go out on top. And they did this last gig. And it's like, okay, you've gone out big. You started from nothing, became this, cool. And that's how you ended it. And now it's like, oh, now there's 3 guys. And then slowly. And you get a lot of bands do it who, you know, you see them these days. And I mean, I know you love Wasp, but Wasp are a band who they did a lot of big shows. And now they're doing all these little shows. And it's one member. They're not going to go out on top. Do you know what I mean? They're not gonna, but Ozzy got to do that, and I think that was really, really cool. He never ended up being a name that was like, oh, you just see him playing at a bar now. He's like 80, but he just keeps going. It's like he went out on top and he did really well. Yeah. It's not like a Vince Neil where it's like, he ain't got it anymore. I'm glad he's gone. It's like, no, he literally did it and ended how he wanted to, which was good.
Yeah, and JN says he did say goodbye in the coolest manner. We'll never know the full story. We'll probably get a statement and everything, but we'll never know the full story. But when we saw him there, I mean, we were taking bets as to whether we thought he'd even show up to his final.
I thought he'd die on stage.
Yeah, we thought he'd Tommy Cooper it. We thought, oh my God, is he gonna, give it his absolute everything and die on stage?
I think that's what killed him.
Is he?
I think he
maybe. How
many doctors you reckon told him don't do it? Like, don't. We advise you not to.
Did that, and then a busy weekend at Comic-Con back to back. Like, I don't want to think. I don't want to think about that.
Even if that is the thing, I think he would rather that than do another 10 years and not get to say goodbye.
Well, exactly.
He would have rather that, which I completely understand.
And the thing is, as well, with the condition he had, he wasn't getting any better. If you look at him from, was it 2022, the Commonwealth Games, and I know he lip synced that performance, but he's up on his feet and he's moving around a little bit. You can tell he's in a lot of pain. You can see that the Parkinson's and whatnot, but in just 3 years, if you look at how he was at the Commonwealth Games to when we saw him, like his condition was declining more and more by the day, and it would have only been a matter of time. So was it a surprise to me? It was a surprise to me that it happened this quick. As we said, just a little over 2 weeks after seeing him, it was a very surreal moment, knowing that we knew that it was his final show. We didn't realize how final that would be, because he talked about wanting to still make music. He wouldn't perform again.
In a way, though, I'm glad it's really weird, but I am glad it sort of happened now rather than after he recorded music later, because it was literally just, this was it. This was the finale. So I think that is the perfect way for him to go out.
Yeah, because he mentioned he wanted to do a collaboration with Paul McCartney, didn't he? He mentioned that he might still do some music with Black Sabbath and whatnot, but they wouldn't tour. So it seems like there were still ideas there. I've seen some very morbid things online, and I don't think there's any grounds or any evidence of this, of like assisted suicide kind of things. I've heard that mentioned. I mentioned to you that I wonder if it's a sense of, you hear stories of people that work a job all of their lives, like a really long career job, and then they either retire or they're let go, and they have nothing to do with their lives afterwards, and they just die.
Those, to be fair, Ozzy did what he loved, so that's great. When you hear normal, like a lot of general working class people that happen to, when they retire, then they die because they've got nothing to live for. That is like the saddest existence ever. You know what I mean? Because it's just, they've got nothing else to live for, but they just did a menial job. I mean, some people are happy doing a menial job, but a lot of people, if they could do what they want, they would choose loads of other things. And Ozzy got to live a life that he wanted, which was great. So he literally finished on a whole, like, I've done what I want to do, and that's great. So he had no more to give, which is cool. But when you hear about people like that, where it's like, oh, they retire, it's like, oh, they had nothing else. It's like, that's just sad. Like the fact that it's like, if you had sat down and asked them, what would you, if you could do anything, they would have had so many ideas, but it's just, they never actually got to, because the world is cruel and doesn't let you do what you want to do. But he got to, which was cool. He got to literally end it on that. But with the when Lita Ford did the song, it was to be fair, like I said, I don't usually get emotional with things, but I was like, you know what, it's quite emotional, her doing it. We
really wanted Lita Ford at Ozzy's final gig,
which I still wonder why she wasn't.
And there was no mention of why. So God, I hate to say, I don't want this to sound like really crass or anything like that, but I'm glad that we were going to a gig, and the gig that we were going to was Lita Ford, and that this has happened all around the same time. Because I was talking to you, I don't know if Ozzy has done many collaborations with people. I know he did one with his daughter, obviously, but not counting that one. The only one that I can think of off the top of my head is "Close My Eyes Forever" with Lita Ford, and I know that people have gone to see gigs all around the world, and even different genres and everything. Ozzy's just permeated the lives of everyone with his music, that they are doing tributes in their own way. But I'm glad that for our gig that we got around the time of his death, it was Lita Ford, and we got to hear her perform that song as a tribute to him in Wolverhampton. So pretty close to Brum, all things considered. And yeah, she got to deliver that performance. So it almost felt like a little bit of an epilogue, if you will, to the back
DLC,
to the
wasn't it?
beginning.
It was the DLC.
It was the add-on. It was the free DLC. But it felt fitting. It was a really nice tribute. And then she lifted the mood with "Kiss Me Deadly" and finished with that. But I'm glad she did it, and it felt right. The crowd as well were chanting Ozzy. I recorded the whole thing because I wanted to capture that moment. But yeah, the whole crowd chanting Ozzy and whatnot was good fitting final.
Speaking of the band thing, we both remembered when she did Cherry Bomb, like, oh, didn't that band we play Cherry Bomb?
Yeah,
didn't we cover Cherry Bomb like a couple of times?
Well, that takes us on to Jay and asks us a question. He says, "So Chris and Dale, do you guys play in a band?" Oh, okay. You got to tell me these things. I'll click it and bring it up on the screen.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, no, but that was funny because we were like, oh yeah, didn't we cover that song?
Yeah, we've so you've been in full blown bands before. I've been in one many years ago, and I think we only had like a handful of shows. It was what it was. But you've done the whole band thing.
Yeah, I've done the whole band thing with tour buses and stuff, which was quite funny because we saw the tour bus and I was like, mine was bigger. It was actually quite funny. But yeah, I've done that, and Now I Hate People and Collaborating Musicians is a pile of shit. So
we've tried to get something off the ground in the past, which we
covered Crazy Train and we covered Cherry Bomb. Those were two.
We did Van Halen as well. We did.
We did. You Really Got Me. So really technically, was it Van Halen? You know what I mean? Because
we lobbied for the Van Halen.
We did Crazy
version.
Train and we did Cherry Bomb, which is quite cool.
I've been in talks of possibly joining a Iron Maiden tribute band. So I've been given a set list of about 20 songs to try and learn. It's a 2-hour set, so I'm slogging my way through that. So we'll see what happens. This isn't my first rodeo, so I've done this whole thing where you reply to a band advert and everyone's really enthusiastic and gung-ho, and then it just peters out. You never hear anything. So I'm not holding my breath, but hopefully if it gets up and running, it'd be cool to play some Maiden stuff. So in a way, like, final thoughts on the whole Ozzy thing.
It was a nice kind of, like, it does, like you say, it feels nice that it's all around the sort of, I mean, obviously it would have been nice, obviously, if he didn't die like anyone, but it was all happening around sort of a nice time where it was like, this happened yesterday, and then we got just this little add-on of like, this is just a nice little, like you say, like an epilogue to it, kind of like like Tarantino even said he basically, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he's ended it with that. The next movie's like an epilogue. It's kind of like that. It's like we had the big end, and this is just like a nice little, which, because it was after he died as well. It's not like it was whilst he was alive. Oh, this should have been there. It's like it was just afterwards, just a nice little, like, oh, that's quite cool. You know?
Vixen slipped a little bit of the War Pigs riff in, didn't they? They did a medley of stuff. They did Still of the Night, White Snake, Running with the Devil. They opened with that, didn't they? It was sort of like a hodgepodge kind of thing, but then they casually slipped the War Pigs riff in there, which got
I find hodgepodge a really weird word.
I do.
Who came up with the word hodgepodge?
It's a wonderful word, though. But on top of that, it was
Is it a real word? It's like gibberish. That's not a real word.
No, I think it's a word. I think,
know.
Or a colloquial term, maybe. I don't know.
Nonsense is a word, but gibberish isn't. Like hodgepodge, is it? I don't know.
Gibberish is a word.
No, it's not.
Isn't it?
No, it's not a word. I wrote it. I was on Word and I wrote nonsense, and then I changed it to gibberish because I went, I like the sound of that in this better, so I put gibberish, and then it had a big red line under it. It's not a real word. And I googled it, and apparently gibberish is a gibberish word. It isn't real, and I was like, that's a weird way to explain that it's not a real word. But it's
mumbo jumbo kind of thing. Yeah,
it's not real apparently.
But just on top of that, tonight it was just a really, really good gig. It was a really fun gig. Had a blast. Sang my damn heart out during the Vixen set and some of Lita Ford stuff. I'm really glad that I got to see Chez Kane for the first time. Hopefully, many more times, because she was fantastic. And I think
I have been playing. I'm going to find out. I have been playing the Back to the Beginning set. I made a playlist on Spotify of just all the songs in order. So I have been listening to it. But I added two things because I think they should have been there. Was one, I added the Black Sabbath because that should have been played, and I put it right at the beginning of this of the playlist because technically it was played because they played it on speakers. Didn't play the whole song, but you know what I mean. I put that as my intro, and that's quite cool. And I slotted in Dreams because Sammy should just play Dreams, so I slotted that in there too. But other than that, it's all perfect, exactly how it was, and it's quite nice. And I have it on like shuffle and stuff because it's a really cool. And sometimes I just listen to it from start to finish. It's really it's a really good playlist.
Jane says Gojira has been mine. I will be seeing them again next year. They're supporting Metallica, so on the Friday, I think, the Friday gig. So I'll be seeing them again. Just wanted to go up to some of the comments.
Mine's I was going to say band I've been listening to more. I don't actually just said Gojira. Band I've been listening to more since then is Metallica. I'm not the hugest Metallica fan. Like I like Metallica, but ever since obviously we saw them there, they've been a band I've just constantly just been going back to, being like, yeah, because it's like Master of Puppets. I've always loved that riff and I love that song, and then hearing it, I was like, this is so good, and I've been playing it constantly. I was like, this is great. Good.
So can't go wrong with that album. Bloody fantastic album. I just wanted to go up to Zachary's comment from earlier.
Wouldn't it be funny if he's not here anymore?
I promised Zachary I'd read the comments out, and I will. So this is multiple parts, this one, so bear with me. Zachary says, Sabbath story. My intro to Sabbath was in 1996. I was 11 years old after hearing the mob rules from the soundtrack to the 1981 cult classic film Heavy Metal. That's a film that I still need to watch. I know which one it is. It's the one with like the animation in, I think. Dio was first. Ozzy was second. Reverse order. The movie was like a breath of fresh air to Sabbath's music. Alongside Sabbath, introduced me to is that Devo?
Grand Funk Railroad and Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah, Grand Funk Railroad and Blue Oyster Cult. Sabbath was a gateway to their music. Watching heavy metal on cable in 1999, it proved to me that animation didn't have to be just for kids, and giving Mickey Mouse the giant middle finger. EC Comics, Sword and Sorcery, Penthouse, Trippy.
Penthouse is a porn magazine, isn't it?
I'm going to have to take your word for that. I'm not sure. If it wasn't for the movie Heavy Metal, I wouldn't have got into Sabbath. That's awesome, though, and I think everyone can trace their origin back maybe to either when they first heard Sabbath or got into heavy metal. I had a very turbulent. It took me a long time to get into rock and metal. How about you? Did you just grow up on all of this stuff?
I know when I first properly got into it was I was like 12. 11, 12. That's when I first properly got into it. And the two bands I remember distinctively, I mean, I was going through quite a lot of bands at the time, listening to Motley Crue, because I saw AC/DC when I was, how old was I? Like
so 4? Jealous you got to see that.
I think I was 14. When was Black Ice? 2008. I would have been 14. Yeah. So I would have been 14 when I saw them. So that was the first metal band. The first gig I went to was the Osmonds. But the first like metal band that I went to was AC/DC. So that was like, so it was them I was listening to. Van Halen was a huge one for me, and still obviously is. And Black Sabbath, it was that song Black Sabbath, which resided with me for so long. It wasn't just like, I mean, Van Halen was just, I heard a song, another one. Van Halen was just, and it still is always like that. AC/DC, like I say, boom, they were very, very similar. I went to see them. And Black Sabbath for me, I just remember the first thing I heard of Black Sabbath, and I remember it was, I think 12, something like that. It was that age of, when iPods were a thing, and when it's like this is what I used to do at 1 a.m. anyway. I'd sit there with my headphones in. I would have it at full volume just because I wanted to damage my ears apparently when I was a child, but have it at full volume, 1 a.m. in my bedroom in the dark, just listen to music. And it was a time when I was like, new music, Motley Crue, AC/DC, and I was just going through so many things. This is when I was properly discovering metal music. And I just remember when Black Sabbath, that song came on, and it was like 1 a.m, whatever, it's pitch black in my room, full volume. I just heard the rain and the bells, and I was like, this took a turn. I was like, this is different. And it was like slowly falling into a bad trip on LSD, where I was like, what the fuck has happened here? And then suddenly you get a dun. I was like, okay. I was like, this is something else. I was like, this is fucking cool. And I remember I went to school the next day and I told someone about it. They were just like, they just didn't get it, because I told them how like amazing it was. They were like, oh, were you like scared? I was like, that's not what I'm saying. I was like, but it was this scary thing though. Like, and people just took it. I was like, are you scared? I was like, it's not about being scared. It was this scary, dark atmosphere is what I'm talking about. I was like, it was not another level. It's like, I've seen horror movies and you see, I was like, but this was just different. I was like, it was just, and that's the beautiful thing about music, is you interpret in such a way, you see of like, you can see the rain, you see this, it's like reading books. You for an example with like books is obviously you see a movie, you see what the director thinks is scary, essentially. Do you know what I mean? Like the director will do something, have a character designed a certain way, what they think is scary is what you see. A book is described in a certain way, and what you picture is what you genuinely believe is scary. So like in Carrie, there's a bit where what's it like, there's a a deformed Christ chasing after her with a mallet, with for some reason a mallet, and I partly thought of Bugs Bunny, but you know, aside from that, it was a mallet with nails, and I just had this weird deformed image of like Jesus with like the crown of thorns with all the blood over him, and I was like, that's fucking creepy. And my point, the only reason I'm talking about that is my point is it's imagine your own head, and that's what that music did, just imagining something. And it's very different from just seeing a movie or seeing this or something that's supposed to be scary. It was just, oh, that was another level. And ever since then, I was just like, that's like one of my favorite riffs ever.
Yeah, you've got those devilish flat fifths in there on the main riff, and what I love about that song is the yeah, you mentioned like the conjuring of the atmosphere and everything like that, but the satanic imagery in there, you got like the Grim Reaper and death and everything, but it's the desperation in Ozzy's voice. You know, the terror in his voice when he's witnessing this Grim Reaper figure that's pointing at him at the beginning.
It's fun to think that when he was performing at gigs when he was younger, he had a tap from the bathroom around his neck.
Oh, did he?
That's what he used to wear, yeah, before he could afford like jewelry and shit like that. He had a big tap.
And then you have the bits of like pure desperation where he's trying to get away from this thing, where he's like, no, please God, help me.
But it's
like
things like that as well really inspire me for like stories and writing and stuff like that, just that weird imagery and that. And I think it's that case of, like I say, it was like an acid trip slowly going wrong. That was like, what the fuck is going on? It was like that. And it's that imagery that you make up in your own head rather than like a movie of, here, look at this scary clown. It's like you got to create said scary clown. It was just, you know.
Jayan says the witch on the first cover on the front cover, sorry, freaked us out. So did the Iron Man voice. Yeah, that album cover is just striking.
It's in Oxford that they shot the thing.
At the cemetery.
It's
or is it?
It's
it's
a
no
watermill.
front of the house, isn't it? Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I think it's Oxford.
Yeah, no, terrifying stuff. It's like almost like Slender Man kind of there. It's just, yeah, very, very creepy.
I think the woman's still alive.
Yeah, did they actually identify who that was?
I think you can find out who she is. I can't remember who she is, but I feel like she's still alive.
Yeah.
I feel like you can find out. I can't remember who she is though.
But yeah, so ultimately for me, when I heard everything, I was sad, but also oh God, I'm trying to say this without it sounding horrible. It felt right. It felt like,
yeah, it was
like time was now. Like he did what he wanted to. He held out for his fans. He got that last performance. And I mentioned when we did our live stream on that, which I recommend everyone checking out to hear our thoughts on that gig. Was that I mentioned that he needed it spiritually. Like it was almost like he desperately needed that one last show, that one last gig, especially because, you know, we had tickets to the No More Tears 2 tour, which never happened. It was delayed. I think it was like 5 years from getting that ticket, or it felt like 5 years getting that ticket to when it was ultimately cancelled and they pulled the plug on it. And he even mentioned on the day, says that, you know, I've been really ill, I've been going through all of this stuff. And yeah, I think people criticize the crowd for not getting into it more, not sort of being the life of the party, that the crowd was dead. But I think they were really just
people crying around me.
Yeah, I think
There's
they were just
men crying.
Yeah, they were just in awe. I think that's probably why. Initially, at first, I thought, yeah, the crowd's dead. Why aren't they moving? You know, they all paid tickets to come.
I didn't give a shit. I was just like,
yeah. But I think it was really, people were probably just in awe of it and just couldn't believe what they were seeing and wanted to be present for it. So yeah, I mean, it's a very sobering thought when any major celebrity goes, whether it's, you know, actor, director, musician. But I think with Ozzy, you know, 76 or whatever, it has just sort of put things into perspective a little bit more, as it always does, of these icons.
I think I'm going to die of a heart attack soon anyway.
God, don't say that.
I think I will. Give it time.
These idols
Keep interesting.
Oh God. You know, these idols aren't going to be with us forever. And we keep saying it, and not to be too morbid.
Next 15 years.
The next 10 to 15 years, is going to be absolutely brutal, especially the next 10. I don't want to
Keith
end it.
Richards will be another 40 though. I'll give him. But then again, I gave Ozzy 40. So all I got to do is like start having a Rolling Stones phase, and suddenly he'll die. How many times have I done this? Did it to Dio? Did it to Ozzy? I did it to Eddie
You
Van
need to
Halen.
stop naming people. Please stop. I can't handle it anymore.
I need to have a Rolling Stones face.
Jane said it was on par with Elvis and John Lennon dying. I lived through that as a team.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, that's the thing. It was that kind of level, like we said. It was like it's those sort of names, and everyone, and it's such a big thing for a lot of people. Like the thing is, as well, he's a musician that so many bands are like, you know, this is the person, this is the reason I, you know, got into this and all that. Like Corey Taylor, I think, posted on Instagram, without Ozzy, there is no me. And it's the whole, there was a lot of people that felt like that. And the first thing to them was Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne. And, you know, so that's, yeah, it's a very, 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 very big thing.
There's been a lot of nice tributes I've read from Youngblood, especially did a really nice tribute. The singer from Ghost as well, at one of his shows, did a tribute to Ozzy and said a really nice piece at the beginning. I think probably before Ozzy, and I don't like doing this sort of like ranking the importance or the impact of people's deaths on me, but, you know, like Lemmy and Bowie, absolutely. But I think for me in my lifetime before this point was probably Michael Jackson. That was, you know, when an absolute titan of music, of pop culture, is no longer with us. And hearing that news, very similar to Ozzy, I have that same thing with Michael Jackson of you remember where you were the moment you heard that news, or at least I do anyway.
I was taking a shit. I remember that. My mum called over.
That was me when I heard Meatloaf.
And she was like, Michael Jackson died. And the thing is, I'm not the biggest Michael Jackson fan. And this was what, 2009, after I was like 15, something like that. And was taking a shit. And I was like, what? And part of me thinking, why are you telling, what are you on about, kind of thing? And then I was like, oh, really? And my parents had tickets to see him and everything. It was like a proper, and they got refunded and all that.
I almost got tickets to that final Michael Jackson gig, obviously, which never happened. But my internet crashed right as I had them in the trolley, and this was in the days of dial-up, so my internet speed was fucking awful, and I had to get ready for school, and I couldn't jump back on to try and get them. So, but yeah, Meatloaf, I remember that was on the day of my birthday, so I got up, parked myself on the lavatory, as is my wont some mornings, and then my mum shouted up. She said, "Meatloaf's died." I was like, "You what?" And she was like, "Yeah, Meatloaf's died." I was like, head in my hands, like, "Oh God, that's horrible." And she was like, "Oh, happy birthday, by the way." I was like, "Yeah, no, thanks, Mum. Yeah, no, that's great." Horrible. Yeah, and Prince as well. My biggest regret, or one of my biggest regrets, is that I had an opportunity to go and see him at Birmingham, and I didn't get tickets because I'm a massive Prince fan. But I was like, would I go and see a Prince gig? I'm like, I like his music. Purple Rain's one of my favorite albums of all time. But I'm like, would I go to a gig? I'm like, oh, he'll do more gigs. I'll go and see him at the next one. And this is what I mean. You've got to take these opportunities. That's why I'm jumping at the chance now to see, no matter how old they are, no matter how far into their career they are, just if you've got the opportunity and you can afford it, go. Because yeah. I mean, I'm just so lucky we got to see. I'm just glad we got to go back to the beginning. You know, that final Ozzy thing. I didn't think I'd get tickets in the end. It was very, very down to the wire.
I was literally on the day, like, will they let me in? Is this a fake ticket? Like, I was proper.
I mean, I felt blessed when I was there. Like, I had to keep sort of pinching myself, like, oh, God, this is really happening. I'm really experiencing this with, 42,000 other people. But now in hindsight, knowing what happened 2 weeks after that, it definitely does give the concert a lot more gravitas. And I'm going to scroll up to one of JN's earlier comments, which struck me. Bear with me, I'm finding it here. Here we go. The death of Ozzy and the Back to the Beginning show is a huge cultural moment. It's a changing of the guard.
Apparently, it raised more money than Live Aid, which I don't.
Yeah,
that was weird. I don't know how. Live Aid was 2 concerts.
There's talks of that they're going to turn the live stream or the show into a concert movie. That's probably going to have a very different angle now. It's going to be something about the life and
oh yeah,
remembering
it's
Ozzy.
going to have a proper. It's probably going to be some like concert movie in between bands. There's going to be like back behind the scenes and
stories
blah, blah, blah.
about people who were there.
I think it's going to be a proper. I mean, I don't know. I mean, when you put it just the live stream itself, and obviously not having the waiting around, all that sort of stuff. Like, how long was it? When you put the songs on a playlist together, it's about 5 hours worth of music.
Yeah.
How are they going to fit all that into a movie? I don't know.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
But I mean, it might just be a case of the Ozzy and Sabbath bit, and then a few covers. Like they'll probably pick and choose which bits. I don't know. Or it might be like a mini series on like Netflix or something. They'll do like I don't know. I don't know how they'll do it, but it will. Do you know what? It's really weird that I haven't come up on any of these videos because I was right at the fucking front and they were shoving cameras in my face all the time. And if there was ever a moment that like anyone wasn't moving, because obviously after about like 5 hours doing that, your head fucking kills. If there's ever a time you just kind of like, I was just chilling, there were people on the cameras doing like getting us to move. I was like, fucking hell, mate, I've been moving fucking hours. So the point is, being told to fucking do that all the time, I better be on that thing. They better not have a shot where I'm there just like this after 6 hours from my back, and they just pans over to me, and there's me just going, and that's all you see.
We're getting older, man. We're not getting any younger.
Yeah,
we were complaining about our backs tonight after getting out of Lita Ford. I was like,
and then I went, do you know what? If I can do, how long was it there?
Like 10 and 11 hours.
8 in the morning to 11 at night. How long's that?
12, 13, 14, 15 hours.
50, if I can stand up for 15 hours, I think I was fine tonight for 2.
Yeah.
So.
Which side of the stage were you?
I was well, I say at the front. So basically they had because obviously they had the Golden Circle, which was like the only tickets I saw for that were like $2,000. Now some people say there were lower price ones. I didn't see any. So when I went and got tickets, they were obviously sold out, which I could have technically waited till the next day till there's another lot of tickets and then probably never got any ticket, but I got general standing. So I was where the Golden Circle is, but then on the barrier behind it. So I was at the front of the thing before it, but in front of me, there was like a little bit, and it was like the VIP bit. So like, so like all the members of Hailstorm, like when they finished their set, they were all like chilling there and stuff. So I was like just behind that, but I was like center. I was right in the middle, and then towards the end, so after Tool, so I did sit down for a bit because when Tool came on, by this point I've been stood up for so long, I'd seen Sammy Hagar, which to me, that as well, when I got tickets, that was a whole like, this is a person I need to see. So he'd come on, brilliant, saw Pantera, and then Tool came on. I thought, right, if I do not sit down for even just 5 minutes, I will just collapse. So I took that time and I went outside and I just laid on the floor flat for like, I think one of Tool's songs. I think I came back literally for their last song. I just laid on the ground for like 5 minutes and I came back. So I did move at one point and then I was on to the left side. But yeah, I was like on the front of where I could be.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
For me, so I was in the Douglas Ellis seating like area. So I was
wearing a Black Sabbath t-shirt.
If you're facing the stage, I was on the right hand side. I was basically parallel to where the Golden Circle was. So I had the Golden Circle.
You had quite a really good view.
Yeah, no, so I was really
closer than me, but obviously more to the side. So I was center, but like you were like here, so that close, and I was like here, so I was a bit further, but I was dead center. So it was like yeah, we had pretty much the same sort of quality of view. Like, do you know what I mean? You were like a bit closer,
I saw the picture you uploaded. It was a really good view.
That's what I mean. We had pretty much similar quality, to be fair. I think the only way either of us would have got a better view is Golden Circle. Yeah. Because other than like, you know, I think we had very, very good views. The only way is to literally spend $2,000 on a ticket and you would have got a better view. Imagine that though, being on that barrier there. Imagine that.
Oh, I know.
Like that would just,
Jane says, was the sound quality good? Yeah.
Sound quality was great. It was sound quality was amazing. Good enough.
I did see some people complaining. There's probably just stirring stuff up in the comments saying that Ozzy and Black Sabbath, the sound quality seemed to drastically improve compared to everyone else.
Of course it would. They always do that, don't they?
I didn't personally
think it
noticed
did.
that.
I didn't
Yeah,
notice it.
I thought everyone was fine. I don't think there was any band where I was like, "Ooh, the mixing's really off there." There
Yeah,
were
I don't
some
think it was.
bands, one in particular, where I was like, "Ooh, that voice isn't great." But the actual, the sound quality was good. And was it loud, extra loud? I suppose it depends where you were in the arena. It wasn't actually that bad for me.
I think I've been to louder gigs.
Yeah.
I think AC/DC were louder. I think it was. I think, but no, it was the perfect sort of.
I mean, I
sound
always
level.
wear earplugs, so I'm probably not the best person to
It was the perfect
comment
sound
on
level,
it.
I
But
think.
yeah, it was all good. So it's a farewell to Ozzy. Unfortunately, there's not really many people that are coming up to let's say replace. Ozzy's irreplaceable. Just an absolute complete original.
The music industry's fucked and they don't let anyone. That's why.
He's a complete original. Appearance, persona, everything. And we've still got his music. I mean, I've been listening to his music most of my life as well. Mostly when I got into like rock and metal, it's been on heavy rotation, and even a couple of days after his death, that hasn't changed. And a year from now, 2 years from now, decades from now, I'm still going to be doing it, and I'm sure most people will. When you think about it, his music will outlive all of us. Like, however long the world's going to be around.
How long will it take until his music disappears, though? Because it'll get to a point where no one will hear it anymore. But then again, Mozart and Beethoven are still hundreds and hundreds of years. So
there you go.
It'll be that sort of length of time. But I don't know, when will it get to a point where it's all disappeared and you can't find it anymore?
It's just up to parents, isn't it? It's just up to people to keep passing the baton
How long
down.
till people don't remember Hitler?
Yeah, it's the important of remembering history. Otherwise we're doomed to repeat it, right? Is that what they say?
I think Satan will last forever, though. I think he will.
Yeah.
I think people remember Satan for a long time. Good old Satan with his horns. Like him. It's a good guy.
Right. I think we're probably going to round it off there. We're coming up to an hour. I'm at another gig this Sunday. I tell you what, my lower back can't take this anymore. I really can't. But it's a great gig that I'm off to, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's my favorite band of all time. I'm going to be seeing Wasp in Nottingham, and they're going to be doing it's the 40th anniversary since their first album, and they're going to be playing it in its entirety, plus a medley of a couple of other tunes at the end. I am out of my mind. I can't wait. I've seen Wasp. How many times have I seen them? 2 times? 2 or 3 times, I think I've seen Wasp before this point. And Blackie Lawless always puts on an amazing show. Their first album's arguably one of their best. Every single song is phenomenal, so I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be a great old day out in Nottingham.
I wonder if Oasis will stand the test of time. I fucking hope not.
So if you guys want another gig review, that's just going to be me for that one. You don't have tickets for that one. And
it's not Wasp. It's not Wasp.
I feel like they're sold out now. So.
I refuse. It's not Wasp. Doesn't count. I refuse.
Well, if you guys want to see me talk about the Wasp gig, I can probably jump on and do some kind of stream if you want me to, of course.
At the moment, it's hard to book a gig. So I'm like, how do you top that? I'm like, it's not going to be as good as that, though, is it?
That's the thing. No, that is the thing. Like it's never going to be topped that way. But we still had fun tonight with Chez Kane, Vixen, and Lita Ford. It was still a very, very good, entertaining gig.
I like Wasp. People seem to, because I've said this about Wasp, people seem to have this impression I don't like Wasp. I love Wasp, but they're not Wasp anymore. And they released Crimson Idol, re-idolized, where they fucking changed the lyrics for no fucking reason. They were just stupid. And they don't like swearing anymore because Blackie Lawless is religious. Yeah,
Blackie Lawless is a born-again Christian, so Jesus doesn't like the word fuck, so he's got to change those words.
You telling me Jesus was on the cross for however long and never once went, fuck? Are you telling me? Because I don't think that's true.
We've got Robin in the comments. By the way, Robin left a really, really sweet message earlier about some of her earliest memories with Black Sabbath and Ozzy's music, which is really cool. Robin says, Metalheads in 3025.
I don't know why that surprised me. Just Robin. I was thinking of a dude. Apologies. It's just Robin. I was thinking Robin Hood. Sorry, yeah. Anyway, continue.
Metalheads in 3025 will be referencing Iron Man and War Pigs. I really hope so.
I reckon we need to do a Black Sabbath cover band called Iron Pig. That's
Iron Hog.
Yeah, or like Warman. No, that's not as fun.
Iron about
Warhog.
Yeah,
Warhog. Children of the Pig. Children of the Pigs. That's it. There you go. Children of the Pigs. Let's go.
I love it. Sounds like Hogs of War. Did you ever play that game?
Hogs of War.
Hogs of War on
Fuck is
PS1
Hogs
with
of War.
Rick Mail. He does the voice
Never
of every
heard that
pig.
game in my life.
It's-
Hogs of War.
I'm gonna have to give you some education on Hogs of War. JN says, "Thanks, guys. Really appreciate your love of
Reservoir
music."
Hogs.
Iron Pork. There you
Iron
go.
Pork.
I love it.
Iron Pork.
Oh, here we go. Robin says I was named after Robin Hood. No hard feelings. There you go.
Ah, bro, I'm like, this is great. That's made me
I think
happy.
you've got psychic
Yeah,
powers.
I feel like there's something. I don't know what it is, and I can't control it. That's the annoying thing. But something. I kill people mainly.
You do.
That's the main thing. Like, what was it? What was the guy before that? The dude, the narrator from Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Just thought about him and went, we haven't heard from him in a while. Next day, dead. I went, oh, okay.
Well then, stop.
I know. It's Maggie Smith. That was a weird one. That was a weird one. I legit said I'll probably be next week or something. Next week, Maggie Smith died. The Queen was one. I'm not even kidding, right? The Queen was it was my tattoo artist. This was a good year before, right? He was doing like different themes for tattoos. Like he'd have like anime month. Like if you decided in January to get an anime character tattooed, he'd discount it. So it was anything to do with that thing, animal month, all that sort of stuff. And he had dead month in September, whatever the fucking year was. And I made the joke and I was like, because I said, if you get the Queen's, if you deface the Queen's face, it's technically illegal. So I was like, if I get a tattoo of the Queen, and someone stabs me, can I sue them? And he was like, well, I think you'd want to sue someone, for stabbing you in general. And I was like, well, on dead month, if she dies, I'll get a tattoo of the Queen, in September when you do dead month. She died in September, and I was like,
wow,
fucking hell. All right, I need a tattoo of the Queen still, don't I? So maybe I'll get a tattoo of Robin Hood. I'm kind of on a Robin Hood now.
Yeah.
So.
Jane says,
so you named after the fox Robin Hood, though? That's the question.
Oh, yeah, Robin.
In which case, you would be a foxy lady. See what I did
there? A vixen.
Do you know what? Do you know what'd be funny? If like her dad was Jimmy, like his name was Jimmy, I'd be like, that would be so cool. Do you know what? Even if he's not, just please tell us he is, just because I just want the. Yeah.
Jan says, so do you guys follow football? Do you cheer for Villa? I'm sorry.
I found it funny. It was the dude who's like Ozzy's, the Osbourne's manager, was all. I don't know. Like it was because he was because obviously they're at Villa and he was holding the Villa flag, going up the Villa, all that kind of stuff. And there were a few people in the crowd booing because obviously football fans are like, oh, I don't like Villa, blah 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 blah. And it was funny because a load of people near me were booing, and then you had some people cheering, but some people booing, and he had this look on his face like, I don't think he knows how football works over here. You don't just don't just cheer and then expect everyone to follow. It's not how it works. But
Jess says, what about cricket? I've no sports for me. I occasionally watch a little bit of boxing. If there's a big boxing match on, sometimes I'll watch it, but I don't follow it like really closely. Robin,
we were talking about Alice Cooper, weren't we?
Foxy late. How do you guys feel about Alice Cooper? Yeah,
he's talking about that.
He's playing this Friday with Judas Priest.
I've only seen him once, which is. I feel like I want to see him again, but it's just never come around for me.
I'd like to. I'm not going to be able to now, and it's a seated gig as well, and I just hate seated gigs. I really do.
How old is he now? He is in his 70s, isn't he?
We'll have a look.
Alice Cooper doesn't seem like he's had any problems. He seems like he's been fighting fit and healthy. So,
well, I mean, he is now 77.
Well, he's on his way. Eh? he's on his way out. Watch this. This will be the conversation that does it.
No, shut the fuck up. Robin says, he was my first concert, and now that we've lost Ozzy, I'm petrified that he might be queuing up. See, Robin's naming Alice Cooper as well.
Hey, this is what I'm saying.
We need to just stop naming people.
It's a thing. I wonder if, like, because of the whole like Robin Hood thing, I wonder if my powers are passing on to her, and she's the chosen one. She's the next in line.
Jane says, I'm going to see him with Judas Priest in October in Phoenix, up the road from us. Awesome. So, Judas Priest I saw last year. That was the
next Sif.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking Darth something. Let's come up with it.
I mean, Darth Wild is a pretty fucking cool name.
That's it. If Alice Cooper dies, then this is Darth Wild. I've passed the baton.
Yeah, so I saw Judas Priest for the first time last year. They played with Uriah Heep and Saxon in Birmingham, which was really, really cool. Judas Priest were probably towards the top of my list in terms of bands that were on my bucket list, so I'm really glad that I've got to see them. Alice Cooper I've only seen support, and he supported Motley Crue, I believe. And Alice Cooper's show was miles better than Motley Crue's, in my opinion. The stage, and I know that Alice Cooper's always very theatrical and vaudeville, and always puts on a good show. Jed says, "I've interviewed Rob Halford. Rob Halford during his fight days. That's awesome. What did you say to him? What did you ask him?"
Do you know what? Speaking of interviewers, there's a really bad interviewer at Download. I don't know who he is, but you might be able to find videos of him. There's a video of this dude interviewing Motley Crue, David Lee Roth, and that's what I remember. But there's a video of him in 1984. He was interviewing them, and he's a really bad interview. He's really awkward, and he was wearing this red checkered shirt. And he was like 20 or so. It was like, probably no. He looked about, to be fair, he looked about 15. He looked quite young, but he was and he was interviewing them, and he had a really awkward interview. He went into Dave, knocked on the door, and he was just, "Oh, can I have a swig of your beer?" That sort of stuff. Dave was just kind of looking at him like that, and I was like, "This dude it was just fun." And I can't remember the exact questions he was asking, but he was asking weird questions, just like, "Oh, is it really like a party lifestyle, or are we just here to like look?" And I was like, "Dude, it was just so awkward and cringy." And then I found a video of him. About 30 years later, interviewing another band member from some, or no, it was just an interview and something, but asking awkward questions wearing the exact same t-shirt. And I was like, this dude is just, I don't know, but he's just, I hope it wasn't that awkward, basically.
I guess we could finish on this final thing. Do you have a favorite Ozzy moment, either a moment from an interview or like a funny spoof clip or the show that he was on?
That's really hard to pinpoint. There's a lot when he's talking to do you know what, there was one when where he falls in love with burritos, and he's like, "Jack, do you want a burrito?" And he's like, "Yeah, okay, why not?" And then Jack's talking to his friends. He's like, "Right, so do you want it in this?" And he's like, Jack, do you want a burrito?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't want much." He's like, "Fucking hell." And then he goes, gets a burrito, and he's there just looking at them when the guy's making burritos, and he just looks in love with burritos. It's great. But there's what was it? This one I sent to my friend because she's got 2 kids, and I said, "I believe this is like you when you're parenting your kids and they're fighting." There's one he's talking to Kelly and Jack, and they're fighting, and he goes, "Stop fucking fighting! It will end in fucking tears. If you stop acting like a pair of dicks, because it will just end in fucking tears." And I was like, I feel like this is you as a parent. It's just there's so many. What was the beer one when he goes out to shower and he goes, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Someone has taken my beers." It's like, I think that was you. There's a lot of random, just weird. I think. But the thing is about him as well. He never comes off as retarded. He just always come off as just someone that's just like, he lives in his own world. Like, do you know what I mean? He's never come across as someone like, even though he does stutter and he does that, he's never come across as like, this guy's not all there. He just comes across as someone that's just like, he's just in his own world.
Yeah.
And if you had a conversation with him, sometimes it's just like, you need to just make sure you're really interested enough for him to latch on, because he would just be like there going, yeah. And it's like, he is listening, but he'd take a while for him to really process what you're saying, and it's great. But I think my hands down actual favorite moment, and this was a moment he was just on drugs. It was like an interviewer asked him a question, and he just sat there. He's like that. And
yes, I've seen that. I've seen that.
Zakk Wylde answers the question. He goes, yeah, we are. And Ozzy just sat there and he goes, "Come on," and rocks him. And it takes about 30 seconds. He goes, "Yeah." It's like,
and he's like, does he say something like, "Oh yeah, well we played Japan," and then he just trails off and he's just gone. It's like
he's
he's like clicking in front of his face, isn't he? Like, just hello, Ozzy.
But yeah, I think the great thing was he's just so wrapped up in his own world. But the thing is, he's always been very like, and he's always been like that. So when he got Parkinson's, he didn't seem too much different. You could tell, but he was. I was like, he's always been a bit stuttery, though, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? And that's why the performance wasn't. You know what I mean? Even when he trailed off, because obviously we can expect little bits here and there, and it wasn't even that much. But when he did, he just sounded like Ozzy.
Yeah,
it was just sort of like, it was fine. So.
I really like the one from, have you seen The Decline of Western Civilization 2, where he's making the breakfast? Yeah. Now I know that was doctored, and I know that was added in after the fact to make him look like he was worse than he was, but it's just him in like a kimono doing a fry-up breakfast. And he's talking about musicians and people that inspired him, and he's like, "We're all thieves. We all steal from."
Yes, that's the hardware string as a necklace. The thing I was telling you about earlier. The where he wears the Robin's comment. The whole he wore a tap on his because he used to wear pajamas, like a pajama shirt, and he used to wear like a string, and it would have like a bathroom tap on it. And he'd wear that as a necklace, which is just cool. He did it on their 78 tour with Van Halen, where they got off the tour bus, they went to a new hotel, and he just went, okay, and he walked back to the hotel and he went to sleep, supposedly probably just in the, like, if he was in the last hotel, let's say he was on like floor 5, room 507, and he just went to that room and just went to sleep, and the room was just for some reason open. And then it got to the day of the show and everyone was like, where is he? Because they went to the room he was supposed to be in, he weren't there, and they were panicking. It was like 10 minutes for the show and they were like, I don't know what we do. And he shows up, he's like, yeah, you're right. He's like, where have you been? I was asleep. He's just great.
Jane says, my best memory or essence of Ozzy is Chow from The Hangover and his outlook on life when he leaps off a hotel in Las Vegas with NIB playing. That was crazy. Sabbath has been so crazy good.
Remember the Chow thing in the at the back to beginning where they showed The Hangover with
Yes.
Mr. Chow,
Yeah.
and it had Ozzy there when they took it was like, is this Doug? And it's Ozzy. That was fun.
Right, guys, we're probably going to have to round it off here. It is coming up to 2 a.m. for us in the UK, and you've got about an hour drive to get home. So we're going to round it off here, but just want to thank everyone who's tuned in tonight. And I know that we were like super late starting, so just a big thank you for everyone for sticking with us and waiting for us to get back and still managing to join us on the stream and keep it going throughout the entire over an hour we've been talking now. So yeah, big thank you for all of you sharing your Ozzy memories as well and your love of his music, and please continue to do so. If you're watching this stream after the fact, please do comment with your favorite Ozzy songs, Black Sabbath songs, anything regarding the memory of Ozzy. And of course, we've been talking about Chez Kane, Vixen, and Lita Ford too. So if you're into them too, let us know about them. Hey, thank you, man. Thank you for tuning in. Keeping the conversation going. That's why we do this. Robin says, "Be careful driving." Thank you, guys. My pleasure. We will be back.
I'll try.
Yes, we'll be back tomorrow.
But I'll try.
Well, I say we'll be back tomorrow. Technically, it's today. We'll be back later today, much later today. And we're probably going to be looking at around, I haven't set the stream yet, but probably about 9:30 kind of time. PM, please, PM. We're going to be continuing our Studio Ghibli retrospective that we've been doing. I actually can't remember the name of the film that we're doing now, which is really professional of me, isn't it? I think it's called Only Yesterday. And then if you guys want to see that review of Wasp Show, I guess I'll be live streaming again on Sunday. After
this has become a thing after Ozzy, the gig reviews.
This might have to become a thing. Yes. I actually don't know what after Wasp. I think it's all quiet on the Western Front a little bit for gigs for me until maybe October time, I think. So you might be waiting a while for one, but if we do go to any more gigs or events, we'll be sure to get a review out for you. These are quite fun though. I didn't think we'd have much to talk about. Well, I didn't think we'd have much to talk about, like the Lita Ford gig. Really, I did think we'd just go, "Oh yeah, it was really good," and then move on. But yeah, we'll find stuff to talk about, and it's great to have a chat full of people that are into this music as well and sharing your stories about it. Jen says, "Tall."
Yeah, I want to get tickets to that one, the Hawaii one.
Hawaii would be cool.
Not because I want to see Tour. I just want to go Hawaii. I've seen Tour,
Hawaii
so
cool.
I just want to go Hawaii.
Right, guys, we're going to peace out. So thank you to everyone that's tuned in, and yeah, be sure to comment, subscribe, and of course, let us know which Ozzy songs have inspired you the most. We'll catch you guys on the next stream. Take care, everyone.